Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm proud to be joined by Senators Wyden and Reid. Today we're here to talk about two things with massive importance to all Americans: Social Security and national security. First, yesterday, Senate Democrats, alongside all other Americans, found that the Defense Secretary shared classified war plans in a group chat with the CIA Director, the National Security Advisor, and Vice President of the United States. For the Defense Secretary to coordinate war plans in such a haphazard and dangerous way puts our national security, our troops, and every single American at risk. Even after the administration confirmed the authenticity of the texts, Secretary Hegseth continued to deflect and blame the reporter. He does something really damaging to national security, and he blames the reporter who his people sent the information to. What gall! This is the Secretary of Defense. This is the man leading our troops into battle and is meant to protect Americans and our national security at all costs. The Senate, as well as all relevant authorities within the executive branch, must investigate this incident fully. We need the Senate to do it. I hope Senator Thune will join me in that. We also need the IG of the DOD to do it as well. As Senate Republicans scramble to defend Hegseth from endangering our national security, the administration continues to gut Social Security right in front of our very eyes. Social Security was already at its lowest staff level in decades, but instead of working to make sure seniors get their hard-earned benefits, Trump, Musk, and Doge are laying off more than 7,000 Social Security workers. These are the people who answer the questions for seniors, make sure they're getting the proper benefits as quickly as possible. Some offices have reported waits, most offices of many hours. Some, I heard one instance, 5-hour wait. Someone waited on the phone. On top of gutting the workforce, Trump, Musk, Doge are trying to close the regional field offices. Up to 60% of regional offices are being shut down. Social Security serves 73 million Americans. Over 30 million of those go into their local offices each year, more than close to half. How does closing offices and firing thousands of workers help seniors and the disabled get benefits? What they're trying to do is erode away at the American dream, rigging the system for billionaires while stealing from American families and elderly in order to make tax cuts for the rich. Let's be very clear. What's happening right now in Social Security is a benefit cut. A benefit cut. Fewer people will get benefits because of what they've done. This is another way of killing Social Security, plain and simple. They're shutting off phone lines, closing down field offices, firing people. It's clear what they're doing. They can't outwardly cut benefits because it would be so unpopular. They're just making it harder for you to get benefits. Same thing, different route, same nasty result. Americans aren't falling for it. Today, the Washington Post showed that while Elon Musk is claiming massive waste at the agency, he has no evidence to back that up. He just wants to kill the program one way or another. Why are they doing this? Why would they do this? This is so politically unpopular. Because a clique of billionaires just control what the government is doing. They don't care about people. You heard what Lutnick said the other day. If you miss your check, it doesn't matter. Well, that's true if you have a billionaire son-in-law, but it's not true for people who depend on the check each month, each week, each day, for their food, for their medicine. So, today was SAA nominee Frank Bisignano's hearing. Ron will talk about it. But given his history, he used to be sent into companies to slash personnel, and the administration's slash and burn policy, it should be an easy vote. Any Republican who votes yes on Bisignano is voting to cut Social Security for our seniors. Any Republican who votes yes on Bisignano is voting to cut Social Security for our seniors. Time is short to stop permanent damage to Social Security administration. If Republicans continue to do nothing, the political backlash will be unprecedented. Senator Wyden. Wyden.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. And I'm going to be brief and just touch on a couple of key issues. First, this nominee for Social Security is up to his eyeballs in dosh. And today we demonstrated that he did not tell the truth about his track record with respect to Social Security. He claimed, for example, that he had no involvement with dosh in terms of insisting that people be embedded who are close to dosh, who'd be part of watering down people's protections for their data. And a very senior ex-Social Security person basically said that he lied. We're happy to make that statement available to all of you. We made it part of the record today. But the reality is that there are some areas where seniors are just terrified right now, and it starts with the phone system. And I asked him repeatedly, for example, if he would take some of the common sense steps that are necessary to get phone service, back. And as far as I can tell, he thinks that AI is a silver bullet. And I pointed out to him when he came in as well that a lot of seniors are not exactly signing up for chatbots and looking for all these so-called fixes. And my God, I wouldn't want to see somebody like United Healthcare involved in this, particular area of services. So what this is really all about in terms of Musk and this nominee is they want to hollow out Social Security. They want to hollow out the essential functions that the government has performed and then say, oh my goodness, we've got to get some private contractors in. So what I can tell you is what the Senate Finance Committee heard today was what I call a prelude to privatization. Because what you do is you set it up this way. You start dismantling the government functions, then you go to private contractors. All of a sudden, you've got something that's completely privatized. This nominee said he knew nothing about privatization. I urge all of you to look at the statement from the whistleblower, because that statement indicates that we've got big problems with dosh right now in terms of they're looking at private data that is basically the Fort Knox of American data systems, and we're not going to have the ability to protect people as we ought to. So this is a crucial kind of time. I'm doing everything I can to mobilize attention to this, because in terms of phone systems and offices and personnel, I asked him again and again if he would take some common sense steps to actually help terrified seniors, and he basically said he was too busy. He said, we're going to have to do that another time. Thank you, Senator Schumer.
Senator Reid.
At this moment, the White House and Secretary Hegseth are trying desperately to underplay an extraordinary blunder. We cannot overstate how serious of a disaster it is. If an American service member texted classified information about an active military operation to an unknown number on an unclassified app, they would be dismissed, investigated, and prosecuted. But the White House says there was no classified intelligence in this signal group. If that's true, the administration should immediately provide a copy of the group chat to Congress and the American people so we can make our own determination. I also understand that the messages in this signal chat were set to erase themselves after a certain amount of time. This would be a violation of federal records preservation laws. As such, the administration must preserve and provide a full transcript of these sessions immediately. Put simply, this has been one of the most egregious failures of operational security and common sense that I have ever seen. Up until now, military operations have been handled with the utmost discretion, using approved, secured lines of communication, because American lives are on the line. We need answers and accountability immediately. We should be grateful, frankly, that it was Jeffrey Goldberg, a responsible reporter, and not a foreign adversary who received this intelligence. Had this information been available to the Houthis in advance of the strikes, it could not only have allowed them to seek shelter, but it could also have allowed them to reposition anti-aircraft weapons that have put the lives of our aviators and other service members at risk. Taking a step back, all of this happened as the Trump administration systematically degrades America's national security in multiple ways. And I hope our Republican colleagues will join us in demanding answers and accountability for this incident. To quote Secretary Hegseth himself talking about the mishandling of classified documents, quote, "If at the very top there is no accountability, then two tiers of justice exist. There must be one tier of justice, and Mr. Hegseth should follow that path of justice." Secretary Hegseth, however, went forward and deliberately sent the details of a military strike package, including the movement of U.S. service members in an active combat zone, on an unclassified app, without confirming who the recipients were. I can't imagine that this information was not classified. President Trump has long advocated for accountability and transparency in the government, particularly as it relates to national security and the safety of American servicemen. As such, I trust he will address this breach with the seriousness and the diligence that it demands. I again request Secretary Hegseth to submit a full transcript of his signal messages to the Armed Services Committee. There is no legitimate basis for him to withhold information from the committee that he claims is unclassified and has already been shared with a journalist. And I urge a bipartisan investigation and swift action. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, red hair. Pardon? Look, what he did is despicable. We need a complete and thorough investigation, both by the IG within DOD, but also the Senate and the House. The Senate, Democrats and Republicans should look into this and have a full investigation. Republicans should not turn their head the other way with something so serious.
Leader Schumer. Thank you, Leader Schumer. On foreign policy, Secretary Vance will be making a visit to Greenland soon, and this comes at a time when President Trump has talked about annexing Greenland and bringing it into the United States. What do you make of this visit, and do you support the administration's talk and rhetoric about acquiring more territory?
Look, they constantly try to divert attention because what they're doing is so unpopular with the American people. Cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, all to give taxes to their wealthy friends is very unpopular, so they're constantly looking for smoke screens. Yes.
Speaker Johnson brought up the idea of defunding courts today, and I wondered if you had a response, given that, I guess, in theory,
It is It is outrageous to even think of defunding the courts. The courts are the bulwark against Trump, and the Republicans can't stand it. But that's our system of laws. We will fight in every way to keep funding the courts.
On Social Security, sir. Republicans argue that the Social Security system is antiquated, that the computer systems need to be updated, that it would actually serve these recipients better. Do you think there's any merit to that?
Tell that to the 73 million Americans who believe and need Social Security. Tell that to the millions of people who are not getting answers, who have their offices closed so they can't get their checks. They are so wrong on Social Security. We thought they had learned their lesson. They have not.
Leader Schumer,
Thank
have
you.
you spoken to AOC, your New York colleague, recently?
I can give you some more on Social Security.